stop. You can stop that.
Yeah. Sorry, Kurt.
Sorry.
Your husband's straight.
I'd say bye, but I wouldn't want to make you angry.
That's helpful, thanks.
I'm gonna prove nothing.
I don't know how to prove stuff, so I'm just gonna say, you're delusional. Stop it.
How did you pass English?
Are we starting?
Yes.
Hi. Here we are.
Hello and welcome to our first episode of reacting to hate comments.
Hooray. So much fun.
Yeah. This is a specific thread that we're going to be looking at today and responding to. That's from Reddit on just one of my posts about Byler, obviously. And so I have my Byler mom here to discuss it with me because we were just talking about it and we decided why not make it into a video because we were going to do that anyway. So here it is.
And then
I need to
edit
take my
stuff out.
teeth out.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, now I need to start over.
Yeah, okay.
Well, let's edit this whole thing out.
Teeth.
Just put my teeth to the side. Hello everyone and welcome back to Byler Theorist with Byler Mom and Byler Child.
Why did it say not stupid?
I picked not stupid because
Because you're not
Byler.
stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't use Reddit.
No.
Yeah, I need this explained to me.
Anyway, that's not the point.
No.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Byler Theorist with Byler Mom and Byler Child. And today,
Yes.
this is our first video responding to hate comments. And today we have a very special thread from Reddit on one of my posts. So we got this first person.
Byler is not and will not be a thing. Mike is not gay. Only Will is. Just stop.
Just stop. You can stop that.
Yeah.
Think you ain't beautiful? Stop
Stop
that. Think you ain't smart enough?
Stop that.
Think Byler isn't real?
Stop that. You will see. All will be revealed.
And then I asked if they read the whole post because it was an analysis that I found on Tumblr talking about the writing strategy proving it and how the writer's job is to prove things about their characters, similar to like the showing not telling sort of rule. And so I said, if Mike is straight, prove it, because that's what the post was about.
Yeah. And yeah, him having a girlfriend does not prove it.
That proves nothing.
If you've ever met a gay person in your life.
You know, maybe Michael's gay, maybe he's not. He is. Your mother just wants you to have all the information so that you can go slow.
Uncle Mitchell, he's straight. We kissed.
Honey, I kissed a lot of girls when I wanted to be straight.
Them going out with someone of the opposite gender.
Especially in the 80s?
Especially when they're teens.
Yeah.
Does not
no.
prove. The number of guys I dated as a teenager who are now gay. Like, yeah.
My uncle dated girls, and now he's married to a guy, so...
So yeah, him having a girlfriend is not proof
That's not
that he's
proof.
straight.
Not proof of anything. That's...
No.
No. You have to
Anyways, that
prove-
isn't even the proof they used.
No. We're gonna get to that, but... Yeah, actual proof needs to be, like, substantial evidence of, like, whether or not he actually loves her, and whether he shows that. And whether there is evidence backing it up in the show. Like, he, as a person, as a character, has actions that line up with what he's saying. Otherwise, he's lying. Okay, so... And then this other person responds,
The show is proof, LOL. You are watching a completely different one. The one you wish to see. And just don't want to accept canon.
We are definitely watching a different show.
yeah, we agree on that.
You are not watching the show we saw, clearly.
No.
No.
But the one I wish to see, I mean, was I hoping for gays? Sure. But was I thinking it was going to be Mike and Will when I started watching the show? Not really. I had no idea.
They were 12?
There's no use talking to you about it because it won't change your mind.
Very true.
But you're setting yourself up for massive disappointment in Stranger Things 5.
And then remind me. They set a reminder so they can laugh at me in
a year and a half.
A year and a half when the show presumably will be out. So that's funny.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay, then what specific proof from the show? I agree, we've interpreted the show in very different ways. I didn't start out shipping Byler, though. I hadn't even thought about it until later on, so it's not that it was what I was wishing to see. I just found a lot of evidence pointing towards it, and that's what made me believe. And sure, we'll see who ends up being disappointed when season 5 comes out.
LOL, the whole show. You believe in triangles and invented color schemes over Mike literally telling 11 he loves her 9 times in a row. And this is why no one takes y'all seriously. It's not worth it to argue with someone who believes in nonsense over the actual narrative.
The actual narrative? He could not tell her he loved her for like 3 years.
You know why he said it 9 times in a row? Because he was overcompensating? Who does that? Who says, I love you, I love you, I love you?
And she was literally dying.
And
He's
she was
trying
dying
to say what she wanted to hear.
And he only said it after Will was like, you're the heart, do it, just do it. Like,
just tell her,
him.
come on, save her life. And he wants to be the hero. That's his whole MO,
Oh
is being the
God.
hero. So if saying he loves her, it will make him the hero and save her life, he's gonna do that.
And it didn't even work. I mean, yeah, she
saved her life.
survived. Sure, she survived, but they were also trying to help Max, and Max still died.
And trying to save the town, and that didn't work.
That didn't work. They were trying to stop Vecna. That was like kind of the main point. Like, she was in there to stop Vecna and to save Max.
Yeah.
Vecna won. Max basically died and then was in a coma. Like,
That is the narrative of the show.
so that didn't work.
So yeah, if it was
supposed to be like a power of love, like genuine thing, then wouldn't it have worked?
yeah, you would think.
You would think,
And
in
if
a
he-
narrative perspective, yeah.
If he really did love her, he would have been able to tell her
Without Will,
before this. Yeah,
without Will helping for one. Why did Will have to encourage him? It was after the whole van thing. Like,
Yeah.
who is he really talking to? I mean, we can read the actual post that I made too, because that's really good analysis.
we should. But yeah, about this, I mean, the whole triangles thing. I mean,
You believe in triangles?
the actual costume designer said in an interview, we could post the clip if we
Yeah,
can find it.
I'll put the clip in.
Said they put triangles on Robin's shirt to hint that there's something LGBTQ happening here.
The yellow overshirt that she wears for quite a while in the season has like a leaf print, and then we custom printed it, so I added some triangles and some equality symbols to kind of have an Easter egg that there's some LGBTQ plus imagery within her outfit. You know, I felt that was important to help represent her for that.
And then Mike has a giant triangle right over his heart that points at Will most of the
Like
time.
90% of the season.
Pocket gate, pocket gate alert.
And the actual costume designer is the one who stated that that's what
That
that
has
means.
meaning.
And
Like-
yeah, she did say that for Mike's outfit, they wanted to give him more angles to make him look edgy, but that's also because they needed an explanation for if someone says, okay, well, if Robin's triangles mean this, what do Mike's triangles mean? They're not going to come right out and say, well, oh, it's the same thing because he's also gay.
Oh, he gay.
Like, they're not going to just
Oh,
admit
well,
that.
He's gay. Or bi.
Like, you have to read between the lines a little bit, which, I mean, there's not a lot of reading to do there. Like, it's
That's
kind of...
not a lot of reading.
There's not a lot of dots to connect.
I've
Triangles
connected them.
mean this. These triangles, or this triangle means the same thing.
If the costume designer literally has a whole video explaining their purposeful decisions in the costumes and what meaning they have and significance for the character, why is that not significant evidence?
No, yeah.
That when the makers of the show are telling you these things we put in the show have meaning, and then you find meaning from things in the show,
Not accidental.
Not accidental. I'll put that clip in too.
See?
So we needed to be a little
Not
creepy.
accidental.
That is literally the director of the show, Sean Levy, they're talking about Dig Dug, the episode, and all the, like, just, like, season 2 in general, like, how the arcade, like, hints at stuff to happen later in the season.
Yeah, the games that they chose to play reflect the themes of the show. So these things are not done accidentally. Like, there's purpose behind every decision they make.
Yeah.
And every piece of art, every video game, every costume.
Yeah,
like,
the set design, the lighting, the blocking, all of it, yeah.
There's a lot of thought put into
the specific
show.
wording of things, like, it's all very intentional. Not accidental. He said that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't, like, these people just don't know how to interpret imagery and
yeah,
cinematography.
So there was this really funny thing I thought of, how they just kept saying the whole show. I thought of this really funny analogy where you're like a police officer or something, a detective. We've been watching Dexter recently, so I had it on
Good
the mind. So you're like investigating a murder scene or something, and then you accuse someone of being the murderer. Then people are like asking, okay, what evidence do you have that proves this person's the murderer? And then you just look at them and say, the murder scene.
That's evidence. I mean, there is evidence in there.
Technically, sure, but that's not what they're meaning. There's a lot of steps between the general thing and the specific points of evidence that you need to explain your interpretation of in order to prove your claim. You can't just state the whole thing as a general, like, this proves it, because that's not how analysis or evidence works.
No.
If you, on an essay, try to prove your claim by restating your claim, that's not proving anything. If someone asked you to, like, to give evidence for your claim on an essay and you just restate your claim, you're gonna get a failing grade. Or if you have, like, a quote or something, but then you just restate it in different words without actually analyzing it and giving your interpretation, that will also get you a failing grade, because you're just restating it.
You can't just plop a quote in and say, here, that's my proof. Like, you need to explain why.
Yeah. If you're using the monologue as proof, like, at least they gave something specific here.
Yeah.
But that's just them saying lol the whole show.
The monologue is kind of proof to the opposite, really.
It is, if you look at it, which is what this entire post was about, that they're responding to, was actually about that. It's the proving it one, which is, about Mike's monologue, and how if the writers have not given proof for what he is saying, then we have to assume that he's lying.
Like, specifically, what was it? My life began the day we met. But then the proof from the show is the day they met, he was trying to find Will. He wanted to send her away so he could get back to finding Will. He only kept her around because he thought she could help him find Will.
And then he jumped off a cliff. That's the point that they made in the analysis. They were like, well, apparently he didn't need his life to last very long because he jumped off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like,
and
right
then,
after.
And then the next year after this, he tells Will, asking you to be my friend is the best thing I've ever done. Even though his life began when he met Elle in the woods.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Like,
and
all
which one feels more genuine? I wonder.
The one where he's crying and, like, you said yes.
And is doing it on his own without being pressured to?
Without Will being like, come on, be our hero, do this.
Like, he doesn't, no one needs to tell him to do that. Like, obviously there's other people there and he's trying to help Will, but
the difference is in the way they film those two scenes. You can parallel the two confessions and just the way, the one where it's like Will's possessed and Mike is like trying to get him out of this possession, but it's filmed in a way that he looks like Will's glowing and looks like an angel.
And they're the only two people in the room. Like, it just focuses in on them alone.
And it's so, like, romantic and intimate and heartfelt.
Even though
so
it is
much emotion.
talking about a platonic relationship, it still feels like there's definitely, like, a connection there. Like, you can feel it.
The wording they use sounds like a proposal.
It does.
Like, the whole,
sounds really
you said yes.
Sounds really gay.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And even if that's not the way they meant it, they chose those words, whoever wrote it chose those words to make you think that. Like,
Yeah,
it was
you said
hinting
yes
at
is
that.
very proposal-y.
Yeah. It was the best thing I've ever done. Like that's, I mean, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, a lot more than just best friends.
Yeah, and when
Like-
you once now that we have season 4, there's so many things in season 4 that recontextualize things from the previous seasons, like Mike's monologue to Will, because comparing the two monologues, it's such a contrast between them. And also, back to the season 2 monologue, that one actually worked.
Yeah. That did what it was supposed to do. They
He-
got Will to...
After Mike's monologue, he started using Morse code to communicate with them.
Yeah, he pulled Will out and got him to talk to them and help them and tell them how to fix it. And they did, and it worked. So, yeah, but the one with Elle, it was all, like, chaotic lighting and...
It was, like, really, like, just... Ugh.
and not intimate at all. Like, there's all these people around. Will is in almost
Will
every
is in the shot when Mike first says I love you, taking a quote from Gayer Things. Noah Schnapp didn't just wander into frame.
He was told to be there. They had him there for...
Or the cameraman, like, you can... Like, I saw another post that was like, if they put the camera on the other side, they could have faced it away from Will and just towards Mike and Elle and have them in the shot. But they chose to face it the other way, having Mike and Will in the shot. That is a choice. You can move the camera a different way and not have Will in it. They chose to have Will in it for a reason.
Because his reaction was important. Like, all the different love triangle scenes where they have the three of them all season long, where they have Will as kind of the focus, and his facial expressions and his reaction to what's going on between Mike and Elle is the focus, because that's what they want you to care about.
Yeah.
Because Will's feelings are what matter here, not Elle and Mike.
Except in the desert, which is funny, because they don't kiss, and they have the exact same little reunion that Elle and Will have.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. It's also the same with Elle and Hopper. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah, the same emotions behind it and feeling.
Because they don't kiss. There's nothing to set them apart. Like, if you look at them, like, exactly like how they're shot and how they move in those scenes, basically the reunion with Mike and Will are interchangeable. They look exactly the same. They're exactly the same.
Yeah, so it's, like, so people show that as evidence of, oh, he loves her so much because look at the look on his face when he sees her.
Aww.
And then Will has the exact same look on his face when he sees her. Like, so what, Will is in love with her too? I don't think so.
As family, like as
Yeah,
siblings,
he loves
yes.
her. They both love her. They both care about her.
Obviously.
But
I
not
care for you so much.
Exactly.
But you don't love me anymore?
No, he never did.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he does love her, yes, but
he
he's
loves
not
her, but-
in love with her.
No, yeah.
At least his actions don't show that he's in love with her.
And that's just bad writing. Which the Duffers are not bad writers. Based on the entire rest of the show, they're good writers. So why would they make such a terrible writing choice in this one situation by not proving the main couple or whatever? Like, by not using the proving it rule. Mm-hmm. Why would they make a bad writing decision for that alone?
There's so many things that happen that prove that his feelings for Will are stronger. Like the whole, they break up in season 3 and he goes home and like burps his nacho cheese, whatever things, and wallows in self-pity in the basement. He has a fight with Will and then bikes across town in the rain to go and apologize
and
immediately.
he only apologizes to Elle after Lucas tells him to. But he doesn't need that with Will. No, he pulls Lucas out to go find Will too.
He's like, okay, yeah, we gotta go. Like,
We have to leave.
Even though he
Lucas is
tells
like,
Will,
"What
you
the-"
can't leave, it's raining. And then Will leaves, and Mike's like, okay, I'm going too.
Well, that's it.
I guess we're going. 'Cause,
Yeah.
in the same episode where Max is like, don't worry, he'll come crawling back and apologize. It's the same episode. And then who does he come crawling back to? Not Elle.
I'm gonna use these clips, definitely. But,
Yeah.
oh my god, yes. It just... What? Where even were we? What were we talking about? I don't know. Just, okay. The
evidence from the show.
Yeah. The monologue. You believe in triangles and invented color schemes. Have you been to film school? Do you understand how... Okay, I went to one film study class in middle school because I think it was like after COVID, so we didn't have like optional options at that point. We just went through like a bunch of different option things. And then I also was in like a photography film option another year.
In grade 9, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Which had some like analysis of film and photography, but not like in the same way. But the first one that I did in like grade 8, that one we talked specifically about color schemes. We watched a whole movie and we had to draw a cover for it in 2 different color schemes to communicate 2 different feelings. Because we had to like watch the movie and basically analyze how the colors influence the feelings and the characters and stuff.
Yeah, so these people who make shows understand like, cinematography, and
that's a basic film study. Like, yeah, that is media literacy.
They understand that. They know how to. Yeah, so
they literally have said that they use that stuff intentionally, and it's obvious that they do because they use it in other contexts other than Byler. There's plenty of things that like have been like hinted at and then happen later on. Like Will, for example. Will was queer-coded throughout all of season 1 to season 3, and people were analyzing it and saying Will is obviously gay, and there was people denying it. They were like, no,
there's no proof. He's just delayed behind the other guys.
Yeah.
Like, he just isn't interested in girls yet, that's all. Like, he'll get there.
And then Will turns out to be gay in season 4. And the same type of evidence that Byler's used to prove that Will was queer-coded throughout the series is the same type of evidence that we use for Mike. So why would one of them be true and not the other when it's the same type of proof?
Yeah. Like a lot of the shots where it's like, oh, Will has this rainbow by him, whatever. Mike's there too.
They post a picture on coming out day, and it's not just a picture of Will, it's Mike and Will.
They post, what is it? Who pauses Stranger Things at 53 minutes
and 5 seconds.
People who live for the will they won't they couple. And then that shot is Mike and Will.
And we went through every episode. We literally watched every single episode, paused it at that moment to make sure there was no other couples that could fit that description. And none of the shots had any couples except... any other couples except for Lumax, but they were not together in the shot. It was only on Lucas or something.
Yeah, it was season 2, episode 5, right?
Yes, so it would have been Dig Dug, yes.
Yeah, so it was, and that's what they hinted at on the post. There was something to do with the time they posted it and the date and whatever led you to look at that episode specifically.
It had specific numbers leading to that episode, yeah.
And yeah, that shot was of Mike and Will.
We found that one actually from a Lesbian Mind Flayer video because she talked about that in one of her posts. I don't think it's up anymore. But that was a video that I saw.
Yeah. So, yeah, we followed the evidence, found the episode that they were hinting.
An ARG.
Yeah, hinting at this episode, found the shot, and yeah, that was the will they won't they couple, was Mike and Will. And then just to be sure that we weren't misinterpreting anything, we went through every single episode at that point.
In season 2.
53 minutes and 5 seconds.
In the first 2-ish seasons, I think, none of the episodes were long enough to get to that point. If we went to the 53-minute mark, it would be like in the credits, or there wouldn't be that far.
So it was just that one.
It was that one episode that was long enough for that. And then later on, we checked, and there was like either not people in the shot, or there was only one person, or there was like a bunch of people, or like there was not a couple. Like, they just didn't make any sense. Yeah. Except for the one Lumax shot, but it wasn't like a romantic shot or anything, and it wasn't both of them together. It was just like one of them talking to the other.
The one of Will and Mike isn't a romantic shot either, but it's just the two
No,
of
but
them.
it is just the
like,
two of them.
Yeah, framed in a way that it's like...
And then that is
here's
the
couple.
exact second that they look at each other.
Yeah.
Because they're like standing facing forward, and then in that 1 second, that 53 minutes and 5 seconds, in that 1 second is the moment that they look at each other.
Mm-hmm. So they're connecting. Like, yeah, it's...
That's very specific. It's very specific. That would be completely mind-boggling for that to somehow be a coincidence. That would be basically impossible. There's no way that's possible.
So that's what they like. And so why post that this is the will they won't they couple if they're not going to be a couple?
We will. We
We
will.
will. Exactly.
Yeah, will they won't they couples usually end up together.
Pretty much always.
Pretty much.
Like that's the point of them.
That's the
You're
whole
rooting
thing.
for them. Like they want you to root for them. They've been making you root for them from the beginning, really.
Yeah.
Especially from the moment when Will's like, I'm not gonna fall in love, with this sad tone, this like heartbreaking. I'm never gonna fall in love.
Exactly, and
you
that's
want him to fall in love.
and
The poor
that's
kid.
yeah. He's already in love with Mike at that point, and so what he's really saying there is that he's not gonna be able to find someone who loves him back the way that he loves them because he's gay in the 80s, and so saying a line like that is something that later on the writers have to come back to and reference in some way by subverting that expectation, and in this case subverting Will's expectation, because Will is expecting Mike will never love him the way that he loves Mike, and so you have to come back to that, and and
It's like Chekhov's gun thing, where if
Yeah.
you have a detail that's posted, you need to come back to that detail. Like there's a reason for it being there. It wasn't just said for no reason. And it wasn't said in a way that was like he didn't care about being in love or whatever. That's just silly stuff. It was said like heartbreakingly, like with this,
I'm not gonna fall in love.
like, yeah. Like, you know, he really wants to and wishes he could, but he just doesn't see that in his future because of who he is. He feels like there's something wrong with him.
And if this is truly, like the creators said, a show for the outcasts and the marginalized, or whatever the quote is, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but something to that extent, they basically, like, I know outcast was one of the words they used. This is a, like, anthem for the outcasts, basically. Why would they have the gay character go through all of this horrible stuff and say that line and have that expectation of not finding love and then end up proving him right by not finding him love? That's not how good writing works. That's not how narratives work.
No.
You don't, like, when the character says something like that, you don't continue to prove them right. Like, that's not a twist. The twist is you need to subvert the expectation by proving them wrong.
Yeah, like you're wanting him to find love, so that's where they're gonna go with it, because that's what everyone's rooting for, or at
That's
least
the whole
the people
point.
who are paying attention are rooting for that.
These people are not.
No.
These people, I don't understand. What kind of story would that be? That would be just such a generic, like, stereotypical, like, that would just be cliche at that point. Like, making him, like the girl and boy fall in love, like, love at first sight, sort of like as kids, and they it's like the heroes. They're like the protagonists, and they live happily ever after. Like, what kind of story is that? That's not the story that they're telling. I just don't see it.
No, like they're both the heroes, so they kind of need someone to be a hero for. And like Elle's kind of the hero for everyone, and Mike is the hero for Will. Like, specifically, he's not a hero for Elle. She doesn't need a hero. She's her own hero.
You're my superhero. And she didn't like that. She did not like that. It's a genius line.
Yeah, it really was.
And they kept it in, so obviously it fits their narrative. Like, it's not worth to argue someone who believes in nonsense over the actual narrative. I agree.
Yeah. Totally.
You have not been to film school, obviously, because invented color schemes are meaningless.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a film study class?
No, they don't bother selecting
entire
colors.
life.
They just, like, whatever shows up, that's what they go with, you know? Like, they don't make any choices or...
Do you not know? Have you never like been in an art class? That's not even like a film study specifically thing. That's an art thing in general.
I have an art degree, so, you know.
Yeah, there's lots of Bylers who have like film study degrees, like they've been to film school, they're writers, they have like writing degrees or art degrees, or they just do analysis often, like they're in school and have to do like essays and stuff, so they're used to analyzing things.
They know how to interpret symbolism and...
These people do not understand symbolism.
No.
You believe in triangles?
One-way sign into the closet.
What is that? Straight explanation. Let's go. What?
Like, that was put there for a reason.
Nope, just write it off. That means
No,
nothing.
it's just accidental.
It's just a sign.
It just
okay?
showed up.
It's just a road sign, okay?
That's
It
just
means
how
that-
Mike decorated his room, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody else made that choice.
Okay, yeah, because
What?
he's not a real person. These people forget that characters are not real people. They are created. They are manipulated to tell a story and to fit a certain character. Like, they are characters. They're not people. He didn't just decide to put that up. Someone decided for him.
That this was important to show
Something about his character.
him. Yeah,
Yes.
like all of their rooms show things about their characters. And his especially. There's like tons of videos out there that analyzing like Mike's room.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if all of them are up at this point, because, yeah. But there's some, but we can make a video about that too. We're probably going to analyze a bunch of stuff. But, yeah, it's just... don't even know what I was going to say anymore. We went so off track.
That happens.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
but the argument against that would be like, it's just a road sign. It means he likes roads. He likes cars. He likes driving.
He likes one way. What?
He sways one
One
way,
way.
and that one way is towards girls, obviously.
Yeah, because he has a girlfriend, right? So that's proof that the rest of his life, you know, because nobody who is gay ever, you know, got married and had a family and went out with girls. Like never. That never happened.
Or no one's ever experimented with just trying and seeing what they like, especially at when they got together. They were so young. Like, Elle didn't even know what she liked. She said that to Max.
And Elle looked like a boy.
Elle looked like a boy.
When he fell in love with her or whatever, when he first was interested in her, she looked like a boy. They mentioned many, many times throughout that season 1, that she looked like a boy.
Put those clips in, yep.
And specifically, she looked like Will.
Yeah, it could have been
Like,
him.
it could have been Lonnie's kid. Yeah, if he had a haircut, sure.
Yeah, and then Benny calls her boy to her face.
Yeah, and Troy says something about she didn't even look like a girl.
Yeah. Like, how do you...
Like, so here's this kid who wants to fit in, who wants to be normal. He's like, I want to go to the snowball.
Go on a normal
you
path.
You can't go with your sister, or you could, but that would be weird, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he wants to...
He wants to be normal.
Yeah, he wants to fit in, because he's been bullied his whole life, this
And he's
poor kid.
already an outcast for being a nerd. He doesn't want to be outcasted even more for...
And he already sees how much they tease, like, Will about being gay, and he doesn't want that, so he wants to have a girlfriend. And here's this girl.
He's trying to prove that he's straight, but it's not working.
Yeah. Here's this girl who actually seems to like him, who looks like a boy, so he can, like, feel attracted to her without feeling like he's doing something wrong, because he knows it's a girl. So, you know, like, that kind of is perfect for him. So, yeah, I can see why he would pursue that.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
When you think about it with your big brain.
And, like,
It's big brain time.
what's the point in putting all those clips in there about her looking like a boy if that wasn't significant?
Just to show that they were confusing her with Will.
Well, yeah, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, they were confusing her with Will. So if Mike liked Will, then maybe he could be with her as a beard. Oh my god!
Because beards are things that happen. Like, yeah.
Oh my god, Blaine kissed Rachel in season 2. That was season 2, yes.
Yes.
Season 2 of Glee. He's straight now.
Oh. Sorry, Kurt.
Sorry.
Your husband's straight.
I'd say bye, but I wouldn't want to make you angry.
Spoilers. No.
I'm sure everyone's seen who wants to see Glee.
Everyone's seen Glee, obviously.
Everyone who wants to see Glee has seen it by now.
No, that's not true. Madison hasn't seen it. Not the whole thing. And she likes it.
Spoilers. Sorry, Madison.
Sorry, Madison.
They get married.
I think I've already told her that, though, so that's fine. So...
Where were we?
You believe in triangles and invented color schemes? Okay, but yeah, Mike telling Elle that he loves her 9 times means nothing if he does not have any actions that prove that it's true, which is what the post was about. Which is why I commented, did you read the original post, though? Just because the character says something doesn't make it true. The writer has to prove it somehow. So list specifics, like I have. And then that was after I posted this whole list of specific evidence. So that's what I was referring to there. So here's a list of some of my favorite Byler evidence and analyses to give you some actual tangible specific evidence, not in any particular order. And these are just a bunch of mostly Tumblr posts, and then at the end I have my Ultimate Byler playlist, which is a bunch of YouTube videos. And that's just a handful of my favorites that I was able to find easily. There are many more if you take the time to look for them. So... yeah. Just stop.
You can stop that.
You can stop that.
What the heck?
All you Gregs out there know what we're talking about. If you are a long time Greg, you'll know. You'll know. Just stop that. That got really off. Well,
we responded to one comment.
Yeah, that was one thread. Yes, we have more hate comments, but yeah, there's so much. Mike is not gay. Just stop. I need this. This is my favorite meme. Just stop. Freaking local village with 3 waterfalls.
Just stop paying attention to what's actually happening on the show and just believe what I want you to believe. Just because, they met and they kissed and that's how love stories go. So
no, because we're the ones who aren't paying attention to what's actually happening in the show, because obviously Mike has a girlfriend and he loves her and he said that.
Eventually.
He said it, and all their problems are fixed now, and they're gonna live happily ever after, and they're gonna be in love forever.
Yeah, except they didn't talk after.
No one talked. No one. Malevins don't mention that.
They didn't seem all that happy coupley at the end of the show.
Even though it was fixed?
Yeah.
It's not fixed.
She didn't, she was upset about Max, but there was more to it than that. Because they had 2 days before they got back there.
Did you talk to her? No. I guess not really.
They didn't know Max was in a coma. They made a specific point of Dustin saying, "Oh, you don't know," when they asked where Lucas was. When they got back to the Wheeler house and hugged everyone and they made a specific point of saying you don't. So it's not like she was upset all the way home because she knew Max was in a coma. They didn't know. They told us.
They had no idea what happened because they weren't there. They literally had no idea what happened back there.
Obviously, Elle knew that she had died and that she had to bring her back to life, which she did, but they didn't know that she was in a coma.
No, we don't know.
So she obviously wasn't, they had all that time to talk on the way home, and they didn't. So
apparently the only thing she talked about was, stuff with Brenner that happened at the lab. Which also the fact that they didn't show Mike and Elle having that conversation, but instead Mike explaining the conversation to Will is a strange choice.
Yeah, after their big love confession, there's one more heart-to-heart that happens, and it's between Mike and Will.
What? Who does that? Who does that? It makes no sense. Anyway, since we're already on this topic of like proving it, because that's the post that it was responding to, we could actually just go through and read the actual post. It's kind of long, but it's really good. And I wanted to make a video about it anyway, so we might as well, because they're related.
Okay.
And this is the post that the hate comments were on, that thread. And then there's other comments on it, but the thread that we just responded to was on this post, so let's look at that and see why what they said was really not big brain. Yes, so we're gonna read the post.
If your evidence is the show, lol. Our response is the post, lol.
Lol. At least this actually has evidence in it. It's like a full-on essay. Yeah. So, I just want to make it clear that I mean no hate to Malevins or people who don't ship Byler. I completely respect that people can ship whatever they want to, and I hope I would receive the same respect in return. I do not. There is not a lot of respect in this subreddit. No. There's lots of very smart people who don't ship Byler, and there's lots of smart Malevins. I just want to bring attention to the fact that believing in Byler is not delusional, ridiculous, stupid, or the many other things we're called. Many Bylers are very literate. Probably not all of them, but lots. So originally I made this post in response to someone came to the Byler subreddit and was harassing people, and they made a post saying Bylers are so illiterate or something, or like you guys are so illiterate.
I am a Byler, and I have a degree. I minored in English, so I know how to analyze things, and I got like high honors, so you know.
Yeah, and so
and I know a lot of other Bylers.
Yeah,
are equally intelligent.
So I made this post on the Byler subreddit originally in response to that, sort of. Basically, just as like a lol funny. Actually, we are kind of smart. We're kind of big brains, so you're wrong. And then I recently posted it on the main Stranger Things subreddit because I really like the analysis and I thought it would be good to share. And I thought some people might read it and be like, oh, that makes sense.
And it's possible some people did and just didn't comment. Yeah,
no, the people who take the time to comment are the people who
don't take the time to read the yeah, we didn't take the time to read the post, so we have time to comment.
There was someone who literally commented, I'm not reading all that. And then
okay.
I'm happy for you, or I'm sorry that happened, depending what it says.
The hell? Why? I don't know. Why bother taking the time to post?
Why comment if you're not going to read the post? Why comment at all? Just ignore the post.
Yeah.
If you look at it, you're like,
along.
this is too long. I'm not going to read this. Leave.
Next.
Or if you don't like Byler, don't click on Byler-related posts. I don't know what to tell you. It's not that hard to ignore.
Yeah.
And then they removed my post for sharing my respectful and civil opinion instead of removing the hate comments that are causing arguments. Right. I mean, I understand mods have like a difficult job and it's probably not that easy, but at the same time it just doesn't seem like a fair decision.
No.
But anyway, a lot of Bylers actually have great media literacy. Many are film students, writers themselves, or do media analyses often. This post will specifically be about Mike's monologue to Elle in Season 4. So, one of my all-time favorite analyses, and the best of the monologue, is Prove It, I Beg You to Read This by OceanFruit444 on Tumblr. Unfortunately, the post is no longer available because the account which made it was deactivated, but I took screenshots before and will copy and paste the text here. So then this is all the original post.
I wrote a post not too long ago about my writing process, or the writing process in general. One of the things I spoke on was the concept of proving it. I want to talk a little more about that and how that applies to one Michael Wheeler. So, the Duffer brothers write very complex and usually well-done characters. They give us a trait or statement and then they prove it. As a writer, you can never just have a character say I'm lying right now to the screen. That would be ridiculous, Lamau. With proving it, that is your job as a writer. It works with situations but mostly comes into play with characters. For example, you give your audience a trait. Will is selfless. How does he prove that? And how do other characters give us clues of this trait? Of course, we see the scene in season 4 where Will is giving Mike his painting and using it to help mend Mike and EL's relationship. We see it continuously. Even though we know he's in love with Mike, Will coaches him through his problems, gives him advice, etc. We see it in season 2 as well, just with Joyce mentioning Will giving away his toy to another little girl who looks sad. That was kind of the time they stated this trait Will had, and then continued to prove it for the next 2 seasons. So when we say Will is selfless, we have evidence to back up that claim. Now discussing scenes with proving it, season 4 is very interesting because it's not as subtle as we may think it is. In the van, we see Mike recalling the first time he saw EL and explaining that moment.
It's not fate, it's not destiny, it's just simple dumb luck. And
then we go to his confession.
I feel like my life started that day we found you in the woods, and I knew right then and there, in that moment, that I loved you. And I've loved you every day since.
That moment felt cringy, but also, there has been no proof for this. There's actually proof combating his claim.
Lots.
That whole monologue was Mike looking into the camera and saying, "I'm lying right now." The writers of this show are aware of that, because they continuously make sure to prove things, because that's how you create deep moments and detailed characters. If you have a character just spew things out without depth behind their words, it's not going to create a furthering and complex relationship. I mean, it's not even in writing. If your partner said, "I love you," and then proceeded to, metaphorically, spit in your face, you wouldn't believe that because you know it's not true.
Yeah.
Throughout season 4, Mike can't say "I love you" to Yell. He gaslights her. He calls her Superman and that meeting her was an accident. He doesn't prove anything that is said in the monologue, and the writers know that. They want people to pick up on it.
In fact, he pretty much just reiterates everything Will said to him in the van. Like, he doesn't even come up with his own words. He just spews out everything that Will said that sounded good.
Plagiarism gate.
He not only doesn't prove what he says, he kind of proves very much the opposite.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm scared of you. I'm not. I've never felt that way. Never.
Mike proves the opposite of that in Rinkomania. He was scared of her. And Yell proves that to us by saying,
you think I'm a monster too.
I feel like my life started that day we found you in the woods.
That just doesn't make sense because he literally tries to jump off a cliff. Apparently his life didn't need to last more than a day.
No.
The love confession from a writer's stance cannot be evidence for a solidified relationship. Mike and Yell had not been together since their big fight. So, as we know, the feelings Mike was responding to weren't Yell's, they were Will's. So then you get into another conversation of, was the love confession for Yell in the first place? Because in both Will's and Mike's confessions, Yell is the center of it, the middle piece. The writers could be trying to tell us many different things with that. They both give confessions. So are they attempting to allude to the fact that Mike and Will are both doing the same thing? So, what I'm saying is Mike is disproving his points by previous actions. The monologue feels off, because as watchers, we are subconsciously, or, some of us, consciously aware that we were not given evidence for what the character is saying, and we don't like that. People are desperate for answers. It's a worldwide trait, so we ask many questions, and we are supposed to when it comes to consuming media or any kind of storytelling. Why does he love her? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why didn't he just say it in the first place? Why didn't he say it when Yell was begging him to? Why does he feel like it's a fight they can't come back from if all he has to say is, "I love you"? If he loved her, it should have been easy, right? Why did I just waste hours of my life for a plot point that doesn't make sense? Mike said he loved Yell already. We've already been through this same exact plot, so why is it happening again? Why? And then, when we get verbal answers, they don't line up or make any sense. So, what Bylers have right is that Mike is a fake thing character. He doesn't just get to vibe in his own head and hang out. He has to prove things to us. If he wants to say "I love you," prove it with details we can back up. You want to tell us you love Yell on her bad days? You're lying to us now because we saw that point disproven.
And they kind of prove in the airport that their whole relationship is fake anyways, because they're like, they make a point of saying Mike's wearing fake clothing. He's not acting like himself. Elle's lying to him about her whole life in Lenora. Like, yeah, their whole relationship is fake
at that point, yeah.
And they make that very obvious in the airport scene. And that all of Rinkomania, really. That whole day. Until the big fight with Will and all the stuff, the bullying stuff happens, and then everyone starts to get real.
Yeah.
Then it's like, let's put down our facade of we're the perfect couple and just be ourselves, and it's not so pretty. Like, really, not so pretty.
These characters have very specific jobs and arcs. They're doing things for a bigger reason, not just cause. I don't think that's easy for many people to grasp onto. So questions writers ask themselves when there's a scene is, what does this scene mean to each character involved? And how can we make that subtextually known? Who is this scene for? And how will it farther their arcs? So, what does the love monologue mean for Yell? And how will it farther her arc or finish part of her arc? As we know, she wanted Mike to say I love you. Mike needed to say it for that plot point to finally close. But what is the aftermath? Now, what can Mike's monologue hold truth to? A lot of what he's saying can be backed up if he's speaking to a different person. Will, I loved you since the moment I saw you. We can back that up from evidence. Mike made the choice to walk up to Will on the swing sets and ask to be his friend. Little Mike knew that he wanted Will in his life and that he was something special. So we have a check mark there. It was a choice. Loving someone will always, somewhat, be a choice. I'm not scared of you. I never have been. We can back that up as well. Will was possessed by the mind flayer, and Mike stayed right by Will's side, walking into that shed with a boy that had sent many people to their death. He stayed next to Will's side alone when he knew he could be dangerous, or even had no idea what he was capable of. I love you on your good and bad days. Once again, we see that proven. In season 3, Will yells at Mike, is upset, and they fight. What Mike does is very important. He goes after Will because no matter what Will said that might have hurt or how distressed Will seemed to be, he still went after him because he cared about him. In season 2, when they leave Halloween, we see it again. Will was having a bad day and Mike sat right there with him, making him feel better. I love you. I mean, Mike has proven that over and over again. Now, that could be used for both of them. But the interesting point in season 4 is the big discussion on his issue with saying I love you to Yell. So, something isn't lining up. Again, from a writer's POV, Mike doesn't get to say that to Yell because you are not allowed to expect your watchers to come up with proven points to that on their own. We have to look at the context of that line and find it in the same season and plot line. I love you. How does Mike prove that to us in season 4? And if you do not have textual evidence as well as actions to back it up, then you're not supposed to have those things. Your job as a reader or watcher is not to do the work for yourself. The writers will tell you all you need to know. If you can't find it, then they're telling you everything you need to know.
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought that saying it might make it hurt more. This is disproven by Mike's actions with Yell. He begins to lose her because he isn't saying I love you. So why would him telling her I love you make her leaving hurt more if she didn't plan on leaving until you didn't say it? Lie. That is thrown in our faces time and time again. He wasn't losing Yell until he was unable to tell her or write he loves her. Who does that apply to? Will, I don't know. I feel like I lost you or something. Mike says the word lost twice in season 4 to 2 different people. Or was it 2 different people? Mike isn't afraid of losing Yell. He's afraid of losing Will. And we have evidence of that because he said those exact words. As I said moments ago, the writers will directly tell you things to allow you to prove spoken points made. If you cannot back up a claim, they don't want you to. If something is mentioned or talked about, it's not on accident or to fill up time, it's because it's important. Mike telling Will he felt like he lost him and giving us evidence as to why he may feel that way, and then turning around to say it to El doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense, because the writers are trying to get us to use our little brains to piece things together. For a moment, I'll talk about the fanfic I'm working on. We see Jane and Mike kiss for a dare in chapter 16, I think, and I discuss the placement of his hands, how they both, and what they do. Then in chapter 18, I discuss Mike's hands again and their placement with detail when he's holding onto Will. Why do I do that? Because I am trying to tell readers there is a contrast to those actions Mike is making. I'm telling people the person he wants and is picking without giving his POV through tiny actions. So what I'm saying is that I can promise the writers of this show are doing just as tiny things. So my point here is, characters don't get to just say things, they have to be proven and have logical standing or they should be taken as lies. Writing is a system and characters' words and lines are thought out. Nothing humans or characters say is meant to be surface level. Not really. The way dialogue works is there has to be underlining meaning or message to each thing a character says. So, if you give two different characters the same exact line, they're going to be performed differently because the intention behind the words will be different. Does that make sense? I love you, okay? Prove it to me, or you're lying. I'm not scared of you, okay? Prove it to me or you're lying. As I said before, a writer's job is to give an audience something and then make the character prove it. If they don't do that, then watchers are able, or should be able, to piece together that something is wrong or a character is not being truthful. Once again, no character will ever look at the camera and say I'm about to lie. We have to piece that together. You know why? Because these stories are perfectly crafted and very much fake. We're not watching reality TV. We're watching a multi-million-dollar show. So, I urge everyone to watch this show and think about this prove-it mentality and how well the duffers usually do it. If writers want us to believe their characters, then they must prove the points we are seeing or hearing. We never have to give them the benefit of the doubt because they don't want us to. Mike, Will, yell, every character is a puppet on a string being danced around the stage by the writers.
And then Queerest Friend added,
this also relates to the fact that we got virtually no flashbacks during Mike's confession, except for one image of Yell in the Benny's Burgers shirt. Even the camera couldn't help prove anything Mike was saying.
And this is just one example of the many in-depth analyses Bylers have made about the show. We take into consideration every detail, the set design, costumes, lighting, blocking, dialogue, facial expressions, body language, and more, which creators of the show have pointed out are important and have meaning. Mike is an undeniably queer-coded character because of all his actions in the show and the clues surrounding him. He's more queer-coded than Will was in a lot of ways, and he's more queer-coded than Robin. If we were right about all the evidence for Will being gay, and the same types of evidence are being used for Mike, why would one be true and not the other? That's all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Yeah.
And they did.
And they did, and their thoughts were, I didn't read that.
That's helpful, thanks.
I'm gonna prove nothing.
I don't know how to prove stuff, so I'm just gonna say, you're delusional, stop it.
How did you pass English? Because I'm in high school and, I did English and stuff, had to do essays and things. I'm it's difficult. How did you pass English if you're saying, I know this person is the murderer because the murder scene, lol.
What?
Huh?
Where's your proof?
What proof?
The entire murder scene? I mean, sure, there's some stuff in there, but you have to actually, find it and show it and interpret it.
Yeah. It's 3 a.m. Anyway, this has been Byler Mom and Byler Child.
Hello.
The Byler Theorist. And yeah.
Yeah.
So
have a good night. have a good Byler.
Have a ignore anti-Byler hate comments because they're dumb.